How's it going, folks? Adam here with Only SP, and I'm going to give you my first impressions of a story about my uncle. This is available right now on Steam for €11.69. There's 10% off in the sale until the 4th of June. It is developed by Gone North Games, and is being published by Coffee Stain Studios. I'm going to start a new game because there aren't many games like this.
Dad?
Aren't you sleeping yet? It's time for bed, honey.
Dad, I can't sleep. Can you tell me a bedtime story?
All right. What do you want to hear?
Something about an adventure.
I think I know just the thing. When I was your age, my biggest dream was to follow my Uncle Fred on one of his adventures around the world. One day, he disappeared. I stepped into the lobby of my uncle's house. It lay just across the hill from where I lived with my mother, your grandmother. She had tried to keep me from going, but I wanted to see if Fred was home yet from his latest adventure.
So initially, you think, this seems like Gone Home? Me too.
My uncle used to send me
not quite
postcards
as
from
much.
his long journeys. Greetings from Nepal.
So Fred's journeys were something that your character was quite fond of. This is the moment things get a bit different.
Of times. But in a locker, which usually was closed, I found something I hadn't seen before. It was an adventure suit. It resembled the one that Fred used, but smaller in size. Curiosity got the better of me, and I tried it on. It fit like it had been custom made for me. The most mysterious room of my uncle's house was the observatory. There he kept his newest experiments, and right now it held a pad used for disposing of garbage.
Or did it? At this point it's quite obvious it ain't Gone Home. It has a really unique gameplay mechanic, which I'm going to be able to show you very soon. Intriguing, right? Wait for it.
I landed with a crash, but thanks to the suit I wasn't hurt. I had no idea where the pad had taken me, but back then I didn't care so much about where I was going, or how I would get home.
Okay, so first thing you'll notice, the art style, the attention to detail, the
suit
world they've made.
Falls on the ground, but not in water. I couldn't swim with this thing on. Best be careful.
Okay, so we'll slowly introduce one mechanic. Look at the not a scratch, no fall damage. So let's talk about how it feels. Very light, and it works. If you feel very light in your feet, sprinting feels fantastic, really quick, very responsive. And then the charge. And then I go up again.
I was sure that someone...
It does a really good job of introducing one mechanic at a time and then making you link them all together at one point. Now, sprint and that is satisfying. That really is flying through the air like that. That is really cool. Okay. Yeah. Death penalty. Not really, you just go back to your last checkpoint, which are normally forgiving. There is a couple of occasions with platformers that you'll have to do a series of very taxing jumps and then... Oh, for feck's sake. But you'll have to do a series of very taxing of very tasking jumps. And then you have to do another series, but in the middle of those two you have to do the first set of tasking jumps, which aren't difficult, but you stumbled anyway. Okay, and then we'll make sure we make it this time. I'm not doing this a third. There we go. Okay, checkpoint. Now, there are collectibles and little extra bits of information you can find as you go along if you look for them. So for instance, I could have went that way. However, if we go over here, I'll get another snippet of information about Uncle Fred.
How did you know Fred had been there?
Well, I found a small campsite where Fred must have slept before going further into the caves. I knew it was him because the place was littered with empty packages of his favorite hiking foods. Canned soups, tube food, and instant noodles.
Tube food? That sounds gross.
Oh well, it's not that bad. One winter, Uncle Fred and I went hiking into the mountains, and we were surprised by a blizzard. We were stuck in a small cabin for 2 days, and all we ate was tube food, and cold canned goulash as well. Your grandmother was worried sick, but I thought it was all very exciting.
So as you go along, if you find little things scattered around, they're not that difficult to find. You'll get even more. Oh shoot! You'll get even more of the story. So the flying through the air feels great. The effect of, I don't know, soaring, little streaks in the on the screen. It looks fantastic, especially the sprint jump. Really get a boost of acceleration, and landing is fantastic. And we're going to go ahead and try and make it just about. See, that feels good. And now, here's the really interesting mechanic.
The power
grapple
core I
device
found activated the suit's grappling device when I picked it up. It must have been left here by my uncle.
Oops. The grapple device, now, as you can see on the glove, I can do one of them at the moment. One of them is lit up. You go up to 3. And as you might guess, you can chain them together. Just about made it. Yes, it lights up when it's within range, as you can see. If you start getting it together, you can really
sort of
fly.
Everywhere I grappled, I noticed similar symbols already there in the cave, and I was getting more and more certain that this place was where Fred had gone.
Genie. Yeah, as in once you get good, there's level select and there is a time trial. Yeah, where am I going now? This way. Ah yes. Level select and even time trial. So there is an option for those who want to keep going back and replaying it, similar to something like Mirror's Edge, where if you just...
The adventure suit was fantastic. By combining a power leap with a grapple, I could fly long distances through the air at great speed.
Yeah, literally fly. There we go. It's fantastic. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you an instance of what you can achieve when you start combining stuff together. Okay, so we'll return to main menu, confirm, and then we'll do extras, seat time trial, and level select. That's how many levels are in total. As you can see, I've gotten this far. Ice Cave and then the Epilogue. So I'm going to show you the chasms. If there's any story details, I'm going to leave it out.
The chasms, it struck me how much darker it was in there. The shadows were black as ink, and although I tried not to be afraid. I couldn't help but shiver. Was it the darkness that frightened the villagers as well? Or was it something else?
Yes, the villagers. The people... I don't want to... The people you meet on the way are quite interesting and not what you would expect. See, this is a beautiful example of chaining your moves together. So first up, try and get to that. Spring. Try and get to that. Spring. Try and get to that. And try and land. Isn't that beautiful? A lot of that you'll be doing. Well, as you get on. The puzzles get even more and more complicated. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, there's a story part here which I'm not going to show you. I just want to show you as much of the gameplay as possible and the mechanics of me involved. So that just flying through the air is so satisfying. So I'm going to show... No, I won't. No, that would be a bit spoiler territory. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with this. The mechanic of grappling and flying through the air combined with the sprinting and the powering is brilliant, and for that mechanic alone this game is worth checking out. Add to that, it's got a very nice story, a bit of fantasy, and it's done in a very... what's we putting it? A very likeable way. So yeah, that's what I'm going to leave you with. So thanks for joining me. Again, as a reminder, it's up on Steam at the moment. It is currently €11.69, developed by Gone North Games and published by Coffee Stain Studios. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, take care.